Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi gave his directives to give the utmost importance of restoring and maintain the maintenance of several museums in Egypt, and also the historical and archaeological sites in Egypt in several governorates, like for example the Museum of Sharm el-Sheikh, the Museum of Kafr el-Sheikh, and museums in Minya. So to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to host this morning Dr. Ahmed Nour, President of Tourist Guides Syndicate in Giza and Upper Egypt. Welcome, Dr. Nour.
Good morning, Ahmed.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yes.
Well, Doctor, how do you see the importance of or evaluate the support of the state to the archaeological sites and especially the directives given by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to restore and give the utmost importance to the museums in Egypt?
We notice and we can see the support of the government for Minister of Antiquities in everywhere. So we had seen in last few years as renovation and the inauguration of many of this museum in more than one governorate, like Malawi in Elmenia, for example, especially this museum after the that we had seen in 25 of January 2011. So started with some museums in other governorate. In Elmenia, we had seen the Museum of Malawi and Museum of Atom also.
Yes.
2
and
months.
It witnessed, Elmenia witnessed recently, since a month or 2 months ago, an archaeological discovery.
Discovery in everywhere. We
Yes.
had seen in Elmenia, we had seen at Saqqara
Yes.
last few months, more than one excavation.
Yes.
But in museums also this reflects the civilization of ancient Egyptian civilization. And when we inaugurate or renovate another or new museum like this one of Kafr el-Sheikh in the north of Delta, this represents the civilization, the history, and at the same time support this feeling of our
Yes.
monuments and our history.
Yes.
So we can see in this museums also like a small association to help the people to visit and to recognize their monuments and to learn more about their history and their civilization, and also to belong to their history. And this is so important for the new generations, also for schools, for university. So this represents in any country the civilization of their history and their civilization now.
Yes, let me say that we are now watching photos from some museums in Egypt. Which museum is these photos?
This is the Royal Carriage Museum that
Yes.
they already opened 1 month ago.
Yes.
We had seen the inauguration of this museum at Bulak area, and we will see when they will remove the royal mummies to this area of Al-Fustat or Ain al-Sera. We returned
Yes.
again for the royal carriage at Bulak, and this area of the Ain al-Sera that we can see the development and the big project
Around
in this
the museum.
area, near to the museum,
Yes.
this area of Fustat and the Ain
So what is the
al-Sera.
importance of renovating and the maintenance of the area around any museum like what we are watching now in the photos?
In this area of Al-Fustat is important area because this is, we can see the ancient Egyptian religion. We can see,
Yes.
we can see Ben Ezra synagogue. We can see the famous church of Abu Serga. We can see the famous mosque of Amr ibn al-As. This area, it is holy and important area that we had seen in TV. So is so important to do this project because it will add a new place to visit also in Egypt and to add to the map of tourism in Egypt. So we return again for this museum that we had seen, like the Royal Carriages Museum in this area of Bolak. This is the 4th museum in all the world. So it started which dedicated for this like Carriage museum. So we had seen one at Russia, the second one in Austria, and the third one in England, and the fourth one in Egypt.
Yeah.
So it represents also a famous
the photos,
stage in the modern history in Egypt, this museum at Bolak. Like you can see the carriages of Khedive Ismail and the royal family from the period of Muhammad Ali till King Farouk, the last king of Egypt before the revolution of 1952. Yes. So when we will see a museum like that, it represents also one of the important parts of the modern history in Egypt, and this reflects the life in that time also, and to recognize also how they lived and how they thought, how they celebrate, how they used this carriages also. Yes. When we can see another museum,
we have this is the
Islamic
museum. Yes,
the Islamic art museum.
Yes, this is in Bab al district area. Yes,
and we can speak about the renovation of this museum after 2014. We know that many of the monuments of this museum was damaged in 2014, and then UNESCO, with cooperation with Egypt, they did a big work in this museum to return again. This museum, the biggest art or the biggest Islamic museum in all the world, 50,000 pieces inside this museum, which represent also the history of the Islamic Caliphate in Egypt from the beginning till nowadays. So this is important museum also, and the biggest one in all the world, which reflects the Islamic art here in Egypt. And many of these monuments comes from other Islamic countries like Turkey, like Iran, like other countries in Asia and Africa, and also the monuments from Egypt. So this is important. When they renovated again and they inaugurated again maybe 2 years ago, this museum was closed for restoration many years, and in 2014 many of these monuments in this museum was damaged. So it was a work and the cooperation between Egypt and UNESCO to see again and to visit, and it is so important because one of the unique museums in all the world.
Yes. So Dr. Noureddin, can we say that we have museums in all the governorates in Egypt?
It is so important, like we mentioned, because it for the Egyptian and for the tourists. For the Egyptian, because you imagine that you have a museum in your governorate. So to see a museum for a school or to represent or to visit a museum, it will not be obligated to come to Cairo to visit.
We have some photos.
This is some of the photos and picture like we had seen for the big and the famous museum of the Egyptian, the National Egyptian Museum of Civilization in this area of Al-Fustat and this area of Ain el-Sira, which the importance of this museum that it represents the civilization from a prehistoric period, and the pottery, the papyrus, the agriculture, the art till nowadays. So when we speak about this museum, it reflects the civilization from the prehistoric period and the historical period the Coptic and the Islamic period, the Greek-Roman period, till nowadays. So this is the importance of this museum of civilization at Al-Fustat. When we speak about the area of Al-Fustat also, we speak about the first capital of the Islamic world in Egypt, which became or received the name of Al-Askar, Al-Qata'a, and finally Al-Qahira or Cairo. So this museum also is so important because it contains 50,000 pieces of ancient Egyptian civilization, which reflects the civilization from the ancient period till nowadays. So till this moment when they will inaugurate, we can see, and the museum itself says that we still have this civilization, and I think that with all this project and everywhere, we reflect our civilization from the ancient time and the modern time.
Yes. Dr. Noureddin, do you think that the tourism museum in Egypt really attracts tourists more than seeing the real sites of the monuments and the temples?
Is the same. It is connecting.
Yes.
It is connecting.
So they prefer to have several monuments all collected in or displayed in one place?
We have this museum in everywhere because we have many pieces that you never can leave in its original place, like the treasure of Tutankhamun, for example, when they excavated in this tomb in Valley of the Kings. This monument must remove, because we have jewelry, we have gold, we have small pieces, must be in a museum to see and to reflect this civilization. Some of the other monuments, never you can remove it. Is in its original place, like the temples, tombs. You have to go and to visit. The museum is so important to have a new museums everywhere, and we had seen our president with inauguration of the famous and the new museum of Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yes.
Is so important in this governorate, because the people usually going there to see the beach, to have diving, but when we'll have a museum there, it will help them to recognize and to know Egyptian history, and maybe to think to come to visit Luxor, to come to visit Cairo, instead of spend all the time in the beach.
So, Dr. Noureddin, can we say that the government's concern and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's main concern with the being archaeological sites signifies or reflects the keenness of the president and the state to provide a kind of a tourism structure in all governorates?
Sure, that it is a support and help and represent the importance of this work. When we see our President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in the inauguration of this museum of Sharm el-Sheikh, in the same day it was inauguration of the museum of Kafr el-Sheikh and the royal carriages at Bulaq. So this reflects the support of the state and the government, and also we had seen the Prime Minister Dr. Madbouli in this site scene of excavation at Saqqara with the Minister of Antiquities Dr. Khalid Al-Anani. So this represent the importance of this sector, and what also not only the excavation for excavation or to open a new museum. This is a message for all the world that we are continuing our work, and we are doing our work in this difficult time of COVID-19. So this is a message for all the world that our country is safe and to receive the tourists in Egypt.
Yes.
I think that the support of the government, we can notice that each day we have a new thing, we have new project, not only in archaeology or tourism, but in everywhere. Yeah. So, and also we are waiting the royal mummies to remove from Tahrir Square or Tahrir
To the
Museum
Grand Egyptian Museum.
for the National Egyptian Museum of Civilization
Yeah,
at
that's
Al
what,
Fustat and
I
the
w- I
inauguration
would
of
like-
the gym or
Yeah.
the Grand
Yes.
Egyptian Museum.
Yes, concerning the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is, I would like to say that the whole world and also in Egypt are anxiously waiting for the inauguration of this great step in Egypt, the Grand Egyptian Museum. So how do you see this museum as one of the most important museums in Egypt and the whole world?
It is will be the important and the famous one in all the world, the gem or the Grand Egyptian Museum, because also we choose a place near to the famous place in all the world, the pyramids of Giza,
Yes.
of Cheops, Khafre, and Mykonos. So to connect that with the big museum and the Grand Egyptian Museum with the treasure of Tutankhamun, more than 5,000
Yes.
pieces will be in
Would
this.
be all collected in one place.
Will be all collected for the first
From
time.
the old Egyptian museum,
Yes.
and from the exhibitions that were touring around the world, like in London and Paris also.
Yes.
His belongings were displayed.
It will be the first time from 1922 when they found the tomb of Tutankhamun with all these monuments which belongs to this golden pharaoh. The first time to see all this collection together will be in the Grand Egyptian Museum that we are waiting maybe in September 2021 will be the inauguration that all the world, all our friends from everywhere, from all the world are asking us each day when will open the gym, when will open the Grand Egyptian Museum to come and to visit because they are waiting this new museum, and with this collection not only Tutankhamun but also from the old, middle and the new kingdom, the late period. It will be all in this
So what
new
makes
museum.
this museum really unique? Is it the number of the large number of pieces that is going to be shown, or
Is it only not only
the huge area?
The number also of pieces, but also the importance of these pieces and the building itself with the organization inside the museum, the lights, everything they studied very well, and it will be the famous one in all the world. Also, we know that many of kings, president, tourism agent will be in the inauguration of this museum. So it is a big project, especially when we connect that with the area of pyramid and the development of this area of Giza Plateau or pyramids of Giza. With the area itself that they are preparing now for this big inauguration next year, inshallah.
Yes. So, Dr. Nouruddin, the latest discoveries in the Saqqara area, and the more than 59 mummies discovered and coffins discovered in the Saqqara area, that it is going to be transferred to the Grand Egyptian Museum. How would this discovery, latest discovery, add to the importance of the Grand Egyptian Museum?
This discoveries that we had seen in last year and the last 2 years and last few months is so important because each day we have something new to discover and to allow to all the world to watch and to live with us this moment. In this area of Saqqara, Saqqara seems like open book for Egyptian history because we have monuments from the first and second dynasty till the end of the pharaonic period, and we have other monuments from the Greek-Roman period in this area of Saqqara. Saqqara contains the first pyramid in Egypt and in all the world, the step pyramid of King Zoser at Saqqara. So in this area, we excavated this
And
famous.
we have photos, videos now for this is the mummies, the coffins that were discovered in the area of Saqqara. If you would like to comment on
Yes,
them.
in the beginning they
This
discovered
is
about
the
Prime
of course
Minister.
Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli and Tourism and Antiquities Minister Dr. Khaled Al-Anani.
Yes, we can see in this area of Saqqara that they discovered in the beginning 13 coffins, after that 14 coffins, and in this shaft that we can see now with other 2 shafts beside in 3 shafts, they found many of this coffin reached to 100. With or more than 100 with the last excavation. The importance that this coffins untouched, so they found the mummies inside, started to study, and we know that this coffin and this statues, one of the famous statues that we had seen, which represent in front of us now God Nefertum, the famous god of son of Betah and Sekhmet of this area of Memphis. And the importance of this coffin is that they found untouched with the inscription in a hieroglyphic, and with this inscriptions we have known that it belongs to the late period, especially 25th dynasty, about 500 years BC. So this is the importance also that we have texts that it will help to know more stories about this area and about this time of the 25th dynasty and the late period. So each excavation is important. Sometimes a pottery or a stone that has an inscription is so important for the archaeologist and the Egyptologist to allow to them to know a new knowledge or a new information for the history or the ancient Egyptian civilization. So you can imagine when you find shafts with sarcophagus or with coffins untouched with the mummies inside, for high officials, high priests in this area or in this important area like this area of Saqqara is so important for our history, and also to send a message for all the world.
I thank you very much for your great valuable information with us today, Dr. Ahmed Nour, the president of the Tourist Guide Syndicate in Giza and Upper Egypt. Thank you very much. I really had the pleasure to host you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I leave you with a report and profile on the Egyptian writer Yahya Haq.